My name is Marilyn Wilcox, and originally from Rifle, Colorado. Grew up in Colorado and moved to Grand Junction in 1986. And I am 50 years old, soon to be 50 wonderful years. And I'm in Grand Junction. Yeah.
Lovely. Let's start with what mediums do you use?
This past year, I've been mostly using acrylics and watercolor. A lot of water media. Not because I do use oil painting too, but you know, this past year it's just been all water, just because the expense of oil colors and stuff. And I've been getting my watercolor paint free from the dump. Otherwise, it would be put into, it's recycled at the landfill. And so I've been using recycled house paint, and it works for me. I think Picasso used to use house paint. Yeah. So I thought, well, gosh, if he can do it, so can I.
Paula used it.
That's right. Yeah. So trying to recycle it. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, and these are a few pieces that we have in the art cellar, and acrylic and watercolor paint, all very well received. Is there something is there a medium you really like better than the other, or is it?
You know, watercolor is very difficult. It's almost kind of like thinking backwards. So acrylic to me is great. And another reason why I like acrylic almost better than oil colors and oil paint in a way is just because I work really fast. And so I tend to get things muddy with oil paint. And watercolor, you're thinking backwards. It's going from light to dark instead of dark to light, and it just kind of throws me off, but I'm working with it.
Well, and watercolor seems to be a little bit more unforgiving.
It is,
than other media.
Right.
So I've always had huge respect for anyone who tries to produce it, especially the finer detail that some of your work shows. Detail with watercolor is impressive.
Thank you.
And so it's incredible what you pull off.
And I love to add the ink on top of the watercolor and add some another dimension to it and stuff too. So like the patterns and things like that. So.
Well, and a couple of my favorites, you're playing with scale, as well as just being playful in general, and you've been using photographs.
Right.
And kind of collaging them and then painting them.
And an artist named David Hockney, I started looking at his work, and he used a lot of photographs and would take like photos of something, just different areas, and then put it all together, and I loved that effect. So I started using photography a lot, and then combining different, taking pictures of a person all around and then combining it together and then painting from that. So, and then mixing people together as well. And it was interesting how a lot of times people assume the same position or something, and so I could use this hand with this body and combine them together. And it's like the juxtaposition of a man and a woman, male, female, strong, delicate. So it's just an interesting combination.
I just find it very, very playful.
Yeah, it's almost whimsical. Whimsical is sort of a word for it, but yet interesting too, thought-provoking.
And it just draws you in. Right. Where when you first look at it, it just looks like a portrait, and then you start dissecting each body part, and it's 8 different people.
Right.
It's such a cool thought process.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it was like a fresh discovery. That's what I like to do, is just allow myself to play and not be too worried about the outcome, and then it frees you up to, okay, I'm just going to start tearing this up and see what happens, and putting it together again. It gives you a lot of confidence in just playing around and forgiving yourself. Like, oh, it doesn't have to be perfect, or I don't have an outcome in my mind. It's just like letting it happen.
It's just a kind of freedom.
Right, exactly.
Creative process.
And that's, if I'm stuck in the studio not knowing what to do, I just play. I just allow myself to play, and if it's looking like crap, it's like, well, I'm just playing and I'm being creative. So then sometimes things happen and magic happens when you're allowed to play. So.
Right. Well, and so would you say that would be your biggest motivation with just constantly creating? I know sometimes in the studio it's hard to you can get stuck and
Yes.
it's hard to move forward.
Yeah.
Is that one of your biggest things?
But yeah, when it's like a lot of times I don't even have anything in mind. It's like, just go out there, just do it. So when you approach art that way, you just start swirling it on and seeing what you can see. It's like looking at the clouds and stuff, picking out pictures in the clouds. It's picking out pictures in your art. So then you move from there. That's what I've been doing recently, is doing that. But I do like to work from real things and models and photographs and stuff too. And it's fun to pull the two of them together.
And we aren't really showing some of your other things, but you do portraits, but change them in certain ways, and not making cartoonish things, but changing them in a playful, dimensional way.
Yeah, just exaggerated, or something like a long neck or a bigger head and different eyes. And there's several artists that I know that do that, and I thought that was interesting. And one of my teachers at CMU, pointed me in that direction, and that's kind of a liberating thing as well, because it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. I like to break the rules, and so it's like, oh, I don't like to be in a box. I want to be just wild and crazy. So yeah, being able to combine things and not worrying about, is this right or wrong or whatever. It just kind of is a feeling and going with it.
And a couple of your pieces, some customers say that are very Picasso inspired.
Right.
Would you say he's a big influence of your?
Yeah. The great thing about Picasso was, he had so many different styles and so many different, cubism and blue period and rose period and all these different things, and line drawing and just amazing stuff. So that's a huge inspiration to me, and I do love the Cubism movement, and Brock, who helped, he and George Brock were the ones that came up with that. So and today I've seen new artists who are, it's not Cubism, but there's some sort of element where things look square or something, and so that's what I've been trying to incorporate a lot too, like with a brush stroke or something, just all the way through. Realism mixed with abstract, it's real and it melts away into abstract. That's sort of where I'm headed and where I've been, but I still want to do that more. I think realism more maybe with the oil paint that allows you to kind of make it soft and then it fades out. But also too, I would like to do a lot of just real abstract faces and beautiful faces, ugly faces. Sometimes people, are so ugly they're beautiful. So I would like to try to show that, beauty in everything.
Obviously, you have different areas of that you play with and different medium. Is it kind of a morphing process? I'm a huge believer in that the artist changes and their art changes with them.
It really does.
And it's that morphing process of an entire lifetime of creating. So is that kind of, you were talking about, that's kind of where you're heading? Is that?
Yeah, it's like a tree almost. You're growing, and then you go out on these branches. You take this different, I'm going to go over here now and do this, but it's all part of this tree and your body of work.
And I think that's what makes an artist great.
Yeah.
Is when they can morph out into all of these different, have these different branches, and that you're never staying
right.
One stick.
Yeah, I'd hate
you're
to
never
be
staying the log.
Stuck. Yeah, as the log.
Yeah, as the log. You don't want to be stuck at a tree.
Don't.
No. You want to be
down.
a branch. I love it. Well, so why do you choose to create the kind of art that you do? What is your thought process?
I think it's just sort of an emotional outlet. I look at my stuff sometimes and I see things that I made when I was feeling bad or just met someone, and their influence on my life made me do a painting or something. It's my interaction with the world and how I cough it up, lock it up. This is what I'm feeling, and that's with the art where I'm just kind of doing it out of my head. Sometimes that it shows me what's going on inside. So it's an interesting process that you just, when you're in the flow and you just lose track of time and you're not hungry and you're just in this zone, and then you step back and see what you've created and wow.
It could be totally different from what you started with.
And it usually is. There's usually this whole process of all these different photo paintings underneath each other as I moved along. And I'll take pictures along the way too. And oh man, I should have stopped there. Darn, that was a good one. Yeah. Oh. And then there's this. Then you have to keep building it up again and breathe the life back into it.
Right.
Come on.
I love it. Let's see. Why are you an artist? Is it in your DNA?
Yeah,
Is it
I
part
was
of you?
born an artist, yeah. And, you know, I think most people are born artists, but then life happens and people influence, and not everybody can be an artist, I think, but that creativity, that spark, I just always remember drawing and painting. And my 4th grade teacher wrote, Marilyn has artistic talent. So it's like, she noticed. And
that's when you became an artist.
Yeah, exactly. I've got proof. My teacher thinks I could be. So yeah, just finally getting to explore that. At 47, I went back I started school. I went to school at 47. And so just having that chance in life and the opportunity to do it, and then just seeing how much it's made me explode and everything. It's just
and how much it's enriched your life.
Yeah, it really opened up my eyes to what's going on. You know, when you're from Rifle, you're kind of like, you don't know
this world.
Is a little world, and you don't see much art. And then when you go to college, you see all these other artists that you're invited to. And so now, every day on Facebook, I find new people whose art that is just amazing. And it's just incredible, the talent that's out there and creativity.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell them about yourself or your art?
Just you need to come down and buy some stuff, because as artists we rely on, we need, you know, it's like a catch-22. If you don't have the money to buy the materials to produce the work, then you're kind of stuck. So that's sort of where I'm at. I need people to buy my stuff so I want to start working big. I want to do big stuff. So voila, come on down. Open up the checkbook. Open those pockets. And you know what better way to use your money than to buy art? And when I see people whose houses don't have real art in them and it's just sort of store-bought stuff or something, there's like there's nothing wrong with that, but real art it's so enriching. It really,
and it's such a personal thing.
It really is.
It's a personal thing for the artist and for the buyer.
Yeah.
To have something that speaks to them.
Right.
That's a very real, original piece of art.
Right.
There's nothing
You can't beat it.
No. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
perfect.
Thank you.